This is LMU I'm Scott Erland, back again with head men's basketball coach Josh Schertz. Coach, haven't talked to you in a little bit, but had our signature win of the season up to this point on Monday, a 100-81 victory over Newberry. So let's talk about that for a little bit. Newberry came into the game 21st ranked. It was the first time we had a ranked opponent here in a few years, and pretty much everything went right for the Railsparers that night. Just talk about it.
Well, it was a satisfying win because of how well we played, and then obviously how good Newberry is and how much respect we have for Dave and his program. So it was really satisfying to come out and play that well, and I thought our aggressiveness and our concentration were really off the charts for us for 40 minutes. I thought we were really honed in. Game didn't start off great, but I thought we missed some shots, some makeable shots, and then as the game wore on, I thought we just really, we played at a really high level. It was, like I said, deeply satisfying in that regard. And, when you're playing, like I said, just because of how good we know those guys are. And they're a legitimate top 25 team. And we haven't played like one at times this year. We've been, probably performance has been somewhat uneven, but we certainly picked a good time to play our best game of the season. And because I think that was certainly the best team we've played up to this point.
And you talk about a team, the numbers are kind of staggering. Newberry came into the game averaging 96 points a game. We hold them to 81. They shoot 39%. They go, and we knew that one of the big keys was to shut them down from the three-point line. They get crazy from the three-point line, then that's a team that can easily run you out of the gym. They didn't. They go 8 for 23. Just what do you think it was that you guys did that frustrated them?
Well, I think, we talked about keys to the game, going into it, and I think there was a couple things. One was, obviously we don't turn the ball over 11 times. So we didn't turn the ball over a ton and give them live ball turnovers, which leads to transition opportunities or dunks, layups, or threes. I thought we did a pretty good job of guarding the basketball, of not getting beat off the dribble, of keeping the ball in the paint, and that limits, again, the rotations, the amount of times they get off the three-point line. Our defensive principles are some that we don't like to give up. The three-point shot, we try to minimize that to begin with. But I thought certainly, we did a good job of keeping them out of the paint, and I thought when the shooters got the ball, we did a pretty good job of running them off the three-point line, of not allowing them to get rhythm looks. Obviously, outside of Gerald Evans, who hit 5 of them, I thought we did a pretty good job of covering the three-point line, which is always a key against Newberry. They came in, I think you said, averaging over 14 made threes a game, had a game of less than 12 made threes, and they came in here a couple years ago and made 16 or 17 of them. So we've been on the receiving end of those, and so you have to do those things. We took care of the ball, didn't give them live ball turnovers, kept them out of the paint off the dribble, which allowed us to stay at home and not get in too many rotations. And I thought we did get in rotations. We did a good job of closing the chest of some of their better three-point shooters and forcing them to put the ball on the deck.
And then, the usual suspect, Laquan Choice, has a great game. He goes 4 for 9 from the three-point line, 21 points. Just did a little bit of everything. We know we've talked about how he's a two-way player. But arguably the most important game of that particular game, I should say, was Keenan Peterson. We've talked about extensively some of the inconsistencies in the post. Well, he had arguably the best game of his tenure here at Lincoln Memorial. He goes for 19 points, 17 boards, 9 for 13 from the field. Just talk about what he did to really influence that game.
Yeah, that was, I would say, without question, the best he's ever played that I've seen him in his 5 years here. And KP's a guy that's always been talented, and a guy that you always feel like you look out there, and times looks like a pro, and at times he looks like a guy that shouldn't be playing college basketball. And his highs are high and his lows are lows. But when he's turned up and focused and ready to play, I think he's a dominant big man. He's 6'10", 250, and what impressed me a lot about KP on the game is I really didn't think he'd play a lot, because historically against Newberry, the game's been too fast for him. He hasn't played many minutes. The up and down action has not allowed him to kind of be a factor, and he ran his butt off. He played over 30 minutes. He dominated the glass. I thought he gave us a presence inside at the rim. Offensively, did a good job of sealing and finishing plays, and I thought he really anchored our defense. There was times we did get beat, and he was back there to either A, block, or B, I thought really caused some misses. And with his help and his ability to kind of block shots and just being back there at 6'10" with long arms, So he did a great job on both sides of the floor. I thought he was the player of the game, in a game where a lot of guys play well. You mentioned Luquan, Tim Pierce was, I thought, fantastic. Jarrell Simmons from the bench and gave us great minutes. But there's no doubt that I thought Keenan Peterson was the most valuable guy in that game for us. And to his credit, he strung together a few good games. I think he had 14 and 9 the game before that in limited minutes against Lynchburg. He played pretty well against Coker. He's kind of starting to string them together, and if he can ever back it up, and that's the deal. That's the difference between elite players and great and good is the elite guys back it up, the great guys almost always back it up, and the good guys are kind of hit or miss. If they're talented, their hits let them be good players, but for KP to become an elite guy, he's got to start backing it up and stringing performances together, and the last few have been a good sign for him. I think that's the first time in his career he's put multiple games here back together where he's looked like an all-league level big man for us.
Well, now let's turn our attention to UVA Wise. We got them on a Sunday afternoon tip coming up here, and that'll close out the 2014 portion of the schedule. UVA Wise really struggling so far this year. They opened up the season with a 108-106 win over Elizabeth City State University, but they haven't won since then. So now they're 1-7. So just talk about what kind of team we've gone into UVA Wise, and we've seen what they can do there. A couple years ago had a disappointing defeat. That probably still lingers with you a little bit.
Does.
But now we get to go back and get a chance to exact revenge. What is this game? What are you telling your guys going into this game?
Well, the biggest thing going in is handling things appropriately. You got to handle wins correctly, and you got to handle losses correctly. Otherwise, they come back and bite you. And a win, even a win like it was against Newberry, or a win as poor as it was against Ohio Midwestern, is just one game, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to get overexcited. As long as you have basketball in front of you, to get overexcited about a win or to get too depressed about a loss, because really the only thing that matters is the next game. And so, like we talked about, once the Newberry game was over, the most important game in the history of LMU basketball was Virginia Wise, and that's the focus you need to bring in there. And I think you can look at Wise and say, well, they've struggled, and I think they're 1-7, and and all those things. But at the end of the day, I think you're looking at. I've had a chance to watch them, and Blake's got a team that has some younger guys who are talented. It hasn't all come together for them, and they don't need to beat us in a best of 7. It's just going to come down to who plays better Sunday at 3 p.m. for 2 hours in between the lines. And us being 10-0 and them being 1-7, that's what's happened in the past. All that's going to matter on Sunday is the preparation we went into it, and then who gets out and executes and performs better between the lines on Sunday. And so in a competitive situation, I think our guys hopefully learn from the experience against Ohio Midwestern. We were home and had all the advantages, and we're down in the second half. We had to scratch and claw to win that game, and that in a competitive situation, a competitive environment, if you don't show up ready to play and execute and bring competitiveness and play with aggressiveness and toughness, that you're setting yourself up to get beat. And certainly I think for Wise's standpoint, it's a game where they got a chance to really get healthy. They're going to come in and we know we're going to get their best shot, and we got to make sure we give them our best shot, and then we'll see how that stacks up. But I have a lot of respect for Blake, and those kids you can tell they're even though it hasn't gone their way, they're still fighting their tails off. They're still playing with good energy. They're still competing, and you can see teams give in and go through losing streaks and things like that. But Blake and the staff have done a good job, and those kids haven't given in or stop playing their butts off. So we'll have to come out, play hard, play well, and do some of the same things we did against Newberry, and kind of play hard, play together, and see how it shakes out on Sunday afternoon.
And I know you just talked about how the next game is the most important game in the history of LMU basketball, but then how important is it to, just looking ahead, how important is it to go into the break? After this, you got a pretty extensive break for Christmas. And then once you come back, it's all league play, and it starts off with a really tough stretch. You go to Lenoir-Rhyne, you're back home for Anderson to complete that series, and then you go to Wingate, a team that's undefeated in conference play still. So how important is it for you and in your mind for your team to go into the break at 11-0 and on a really high note?
Well, I think you always want to, win every game in front of you. I don't know that you want to go into the break. These games for the break kind of go either way. Either a team comes in and kind of goes on break early and gets their butts kicked and you just play terrible, or I think guys come in and play really well. And you hope you have the type of team, the type of character, type of fiber in your team that allows you to come into this game before, because it's a long week. No one's here, just us. And guys are thinking about getting home. They haven't been home in a while, so all these things go in their mind. And then, you hope you have the type of team, type of character, type of fiber that allows you to come out and focus on the task at hand. But I don't think you want to have momentum always. But I don't know that whether we win or lose at Wise, we got to come in and come to work over the Christmas break. Christmas break to me is probably, along with the preseason, October 15th to your opening day, the two most important times for growth of your team with college basketball, because it's the most practice time you get. We don't start school back to the 12th, so a lot of practice time in there, a lot of time to work with our guys and get better, a lot of chance to kind of put things in and kind of tweak. So from that standpoint, I think Christmas is going to be hugely important whether we win or lose. But I will say this, that winning would make Christmas a whole lot better than having a loss linger with you for, I think it's, what do we go? We go 13 days without playing. So to have that kind of hanging over your head for 13 days would be miserable. But, we got to go out and play well. And I think, Wise is thinking the same thing. They got a chance to kind of, they beat us and they probably wiped that slate clean, come back from Christmas, and they're feeling great about themselves. From our standpoint, we need to make sure that we do the things and have great preparation between now and then, and that guys are in the right mindset, right mentality. And we talked about this before. Yesterday was over the years we've done a really good job in this game before Christmas. We've always really played excellent. The previous 6 years I've been here, the game before Christmas, and guys have, and that goes back to the character fiber of what those groups were able to do after that. And so this is a test for us from a maturity standpoint, from a mental standpoint, to go on the road and really be locked in and focused. But as you mentioned, last time we went to Virginia Wise 2 years ago, we were undefeated. It was an early December game. We were ranked top 10 in the country, and we got beat. And so again, anything can happen when you step between the lines in a competitive situation, and we got to go in and really be sharp, really be focused, and give them the respect they deserve. And I think so far our guys have done that from a practice standpoint.
Well, Coach, we certainly hope you go into Christmas break in a happy mood, and we'll catch up with you after the break.
Sounds good, Scott. Look forward to seeing you.